Some breaking news here. Good news for Democrats means bad news for Mike Johnson and the Republican conference's majority. In tonight's special election in New York's 26th congressional district, which was held to fill a vacancy left by retiring Democratic Congressman Brian Higgins, Democrat Timothy Kennedy has defeated Republican Gary Dixon and in doing so, shrunk Mike Johnson's House majority down to one single seat. That's down from the 222 to 213 majority that Republicans entered Congress with. But after being plagued by chaos and dysfunction of their own making, their House majority suffered in pretty humiliating fashion. For example, after Kevin McCarthy was elected Speaker after a bruising 15 rounds back in January of 2023, he was removed just 10 months later in one of the shortest stints with the gavel in history, thanks to Matt Gaetz's motion to vacate. And further putting that dysfunction on display, McCarthy would later come out and reveal why Gaetz introduced that motion to begin with.
And I'll give you the truth why I'm not Speaker. It's because one person, a member of Congress, wanted me to stop an ethics complaint because he slept with a 17-year-old. An ethics complaint that started before I ever became Speaker, and that's illegal, and I'm not going to get in the middle. Did he do it or not? I don't know. But ethics is looking at it. There's other people in jail because of it. And he wanted me to influence it. And you know what? So then they come out and they say, because I kept government open. I'd do it all over again. We're not going to pay our troops? No, I'm going to pay my troops. You can't do the job?
But if you needed more chaos than the prospect of a Republican congressman sleeping with a minor, consider the fact that 21 Republicans have announced their retirement from Congress, 5 of whom will have resigned even before the end of the term. Of course, the reason is simple. Republicans have opted to use their time in the majority to do absolutely nothing. And I don't mean that facetiously. Republicans have managed to enact the fewest bills in decades. Take a look at this chart. See that line all the way to the right? That is today's House Republican majority. They'll demand your votes and they'll collect your tax dollars to pay their salaries, and with all of that power and responsibility, they will do virtually nothing. How's that for a re-election ad? And don't take my word for it. Take Republican Congressman Chip Roy, who grew so frustrated with the dysfunction among his own conference that he called them out on the House floor on numerous occasions.
Another member of Congress resigned today. So now I'll be told, Chip, we only have a 1-seat majority or 2-seat majority. I don't even know what it is anymore. Let me ask you a question. Does it matter? In 2018, we had the House, we had the Senate, we had the White House, and we had a bigger majority than we have today, and we utterly failed to secure the border. Totally dropped the ball, didn't do it. One thing. I want my Republican colleagues to give me one thing, one, that I can go campaign on and say we did. One. Anybody sitting in the complex, if you want to come down to the floor and come explain to me one material, meaningful, significant thing the Republican majority has done. We have done a number of great things fighting here as Republicans, but they don't mean a thing if we are not willing to sit down at the negotiation table and look at our Democratic colleagues in the Senate and look at the President of the United States and tell him this is how it's going to be done, or you're not going to get your funding. This is how it's going to be done, or don't even think about another dollar for Ukraine. That's my message to my Republican colleagues who, frankly, are getting a little too wound up at that question I asked. What have we done? Because the simplest solution to your frustration about that question being asked is to have an answer.
Although, in fairness, I can't forget the 2 massive accomplishments of this House majority. We can't forget a 16-month-long investigation into Joe Biden that uncovered, wait for it, absolutely nothing. Republicans, led by James Comer and Jim Jordan, were so unsuccessful in finding any evidence of wrongdoing by Joe or Hunter Biden that after more than a year, the best that James Comer could manage was some mealy-mouthed suggestion that the criminal justice system take it from here.
We've been, again, referring back and forth to the testimony that we've heard, that we've aired here live on National Report, and again, statements that were made. All this in regards to the impeachment inquiry. I'm curious to know what you say to those that push back and say there's no appetite in the House and definitely not the Senate for an impeachment. Perhaps there would be criminal referrals moving forward, but then you'd be met with another barrier, if you will, of the statute of limitations. Meaning, where are you attempting to go at this point, Congressman?
Well, I want to hold accountability. That's what we said all along. We said when we launched the investigation, we want to provide the truth to the American people and then provide real accountability. So what does real accountability look like? Does it look like impeaching Joe Biden in the House and then the Senate tabling it like they're going to do with the Merrick Garland impeachment? Or does it mean providing real criminal referrals to the Department of Justice? I think the latter. Look, I would vote to impeach Joe Biden right now. The impeachment inquiry was meant to give us more tools to be able to gather more information to be able to win in court when the Bidens challenged our lawful subpoenas.
Notice how he says, I'd vote to impeach Joe Biden right now. Small problem, he quite literally had the opportunity, and here's what he did instead.
Well, I mean, I'm just here to help him, right? And so I just think we should do it today. Let's just call for it. I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman. I want to help you out. You can second it, right? Like, make the motion to impeach President Biden. Go ahead. It's your turn. You second it. No, nothing. Okay, we got nothing. So I want to, with my last couple minutes, show the American people that they're never going to impeach Joe Biden. It's never going to happen because they don't have the evidence. Okay, this is a show. It's all fake. They just want to do these hearings. It's not leading to impeachment. They're lying to their base on Newsmax and Fox, leading these people to believe that they're going to eventually impeach the president. It's not going to happen at all, ever, period. They don't even have the votes, even if they had it in committee. They don't have the votes on the floor. They know that. They got members resigning rather than taking a vote on the fake, faux impeachment. Just ask Ken Buck, who said the speaker ain't going to get me to take an unconstitutional impeachment vote.
And not for nothing, but if Republicans had any evidence for which to impeach Biden, you are kidding yourself if you think they're not going to barrel forward and do exactly that. The fact that they couldn't find a single solitary thing is actually a testament to the integrity with which Biden served. And then, of course, aside from this doomed impeachment effort, was the Republicans' valiant attempt to protect the American people's gas stoves. That's right, there was no greater threat to this country than the imminent reclamation of our stoves. And so thank God the Republicans managed to get it together, if but for a single moment, to pass a bill protecting our gas stoves from a president who, to be clear, has no intention of taking your gas stoves. Bravo, Republicans. Bravo. And so honestly, it is no wonder that Republicans are suffering from a wave of retirements. What's the point of being there? If you're not Marjorie Taylor Greene or Jim Jordan building your brands for social media follows, then what is the point of being part of a body that quite literally does nothing? And it's not like Congress can't work. Just look at what the Democrats did when they entered the majority with virtually the same margin as the Republicans in the last term. They passed the American Rescue Plan, the Inflation Reduction Act, the PACT Act, the CHIPS Act, the Infrastructure Law, the first gun safety law in 30 years, codified marriage equality into federal law. The government can work when it's run by people who want it to work. Republicans' goal is to destroy it. They are living proof of that. So as we head into yet another election, ask yourself if you want the people in charge who will continue the work of lowering healthcare costs and protecting veterans and expanding our domestic manufacturing capabilities and combating climate change and reducing gun violence, or do you want people in charge who are fighting an imaginary battle to protect kitchen appliances? Take all the time you need with that one. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to this channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.